I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. You can all be seated. Thank you. I'm Danielle Clayman, Interim Superintendent for Duxbury Schools. On behalf of the staff and students, I would like to welcome our distinguished guests to today's program. We'd like to welcome our local veterans in attendance this morning. We'd also like to welcome State Senator Patrick O'Connor, State Representative Josh Cutler, State Representative Kathy Lenatra, members of Duxbury American Legion Post 223, Duxbury Town Manager Rainey Reed, Police Chief Stephen McDonald, Lieutenant John O'Leary from the Massachusetts State Police, Fire Chief Kevin Nord, Deputy Fire Chief Rob Reardon, our Duxbury School Committee members, and most importantly, the Medal of Honor recipients that we're here to honor today. United States Army Captain Flo Groberg and United States Army Lieutenant Colonel William Swenson. Clap for them. Before we begin, I would like to thank Duxbury resident Kathleen Johnson, who is a member of the Medal of Honor Convention, Boston Committee, for making it possible for Duxbury to host this event this morning, honoring two American heroes, Captain Groberg and Lieutenant Colonel Swenson. To provide a bit of context for our students in attendance and those listening, the Medal of Honor is our nation's highest and rarest military distinction and was created back in 1861 by President Abraham Lincoln. This honor is bestowed by the President of the United States in the name of Congress upon a member of the United States Armed Forces who distinguishes himself or herself through conspicuous gallantry, intrepidity, and at the risk of his or her life above and beyond the call of duty while engaged in an action against the enemy of the United States. Fewer than 3,500 individuals have received the medal, half of which have been posthumously. There are currently only 68 living recipients. The Congressional Medal of Honor Society was chartered by the U.S. Congress back in 1958. The purpose of the society, among other things, is to perpetuate the legacy of the Medal of Honor. The living recipients of the Medal of Honor constitute the members of the society. These recipients congregate annually for their National Medal of Honor Convention. Boston is proud to have been selected as the host city for the 2021 Medal of Honor Convention that is taking place this week from September 7th through 12th, 2021. At this time, I would like to invite DHS Senior Olivia Kyriakides to introduce our Medal of Honor recipients.
Our first distinguished guest today is Captain Flo Grover. Captain Flo A. Grover distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty, while serving as a personal security detachment commander for Task Force Mountain Warrior, 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division, during combat operations against an armed enemy in Asadabad, Kunar Province, Afghanistan, on August 8, 2012. Captain Grover was leading a movement of senior leaders and bringing them to the provincial governor's compound. As they approached the compound, Captain Grover keenly noted an individual walking close to their formation with an abnormal bulge in his clothing. Captain Grover physically pushed the individual out of the perimeter of the formation, who turned out to be a suicide bomber. And when the bomber fell, his vest detonated, and the blast caused another unnoticed suicide bomber's vest to detonate outside of the perimeter of the formation. Captain Grover's extraordinary heroism and selflessness above and beyond the call of duty, at the risk of life, are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect credit upon himself, 4th Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 4th Infantry Division, and the United States Army. Thank you, Captain Grover. Next, I would like to introduce our other Medal of Honor recipient, Lieutenant Colonel William Swenson. Lieutenant Colonel Swenson distinguished himself by acts of gallantry and intrepidity at the risk of his life above and beyond the call of duty while serving during combat operation against an armed enemy in Kunar Province, Afghanistan, on September 8, 2009. On that morning, more than 60 well-armed, well-positioned enemy fighters ambushed Lieutenant Colonel Swenson's combat team on their way to a meeting with village elders. As the enemy unleashed a barrage of rocket-propelled grenade, mortar, and machine gun fire, Lieutenant Colonel Swenson immediately returned fire and coordinated and directed the response of the Afghan border police. As the enemy flanked coalition forces, Lieutenant Colonel Swenson called for smoke to cover the withdrawal of the forward elements. While surrounded on three sides by enemy forces inflicting effective and accurate fire, Lieutenant Colonel Swenson coordinated air assets, indirect fire support, and medical evacuation helicopter support to allow for the evacuation of the wounded. Lieutenant Colonel Swenson ignored enemy radio transmissions demanding surrender and maneuvered uncovered to render medical aid to a wounded fellow soldier and threw a grenade at approaching enemy forces. Lieutenant Colonel then exposed himself to the enemy several times while recovering wounded soldiers and searching for 4 wounded comrades. Once the location of the fallen comrades was determined, Lieutenant Colonel Swenson returned to the kill zone, exited his vehicle, and located 3 fallen Marines and 1 fallen Navy corpsman. His exceptional leadership and stout resistance against the enemy during 6 hours of continuous fighting rallied his teammates and effectively disrupted the enemy's assault. Lieutenant Colonel Swenson's extraordinary heroism and selflessness above and beyond the call of duty are in keeping with the highest traditions of military service and reflect great credit upon himself. Task Force Phoenix, 1st Battalion, 32nd Infantry Regiment, 3rd Brigade Combat Team, 10th Mountain Division, and the United States Army. Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Swenson.
Well, thanks very much for having me out here today. it's pretty inspiring to see kids back in school, and I know that Zoom thing that happened last year is pretty traumatic, so good to see you all back in class. So a few things. What is a Medal of Honor recipient? Something that you have to understand about the Medal of Honor is that this is not an award given out because you did something wonderful. It's not something that you want to achieve. It's not something you seek out. It's something that happens to you. And it happens to you as a result of you being part of a team, part of an organization, part of an idea, part of a country that you believe in. And you find yourself in a faraway, distant land, fighting for something that you may or may not agree with. And ultimately, you're there with a team of people, and you're there for them, and they're there for you. And you find yourself in a situation where you're simply doing your job. And at the end of that job, you get identified for something that you've done, and you find yourself with a Medal of Honor. We are not Olympians. We don't even see ourselves as heroes. We see ourselves as people who simply did our job on behalf of our country. And now, what we do is we carry an award in recognition of all those who did not get recognized, for the stories that were not told, and for those who didn't come home. So it's a somber award, it's a heavy weight, but it's also an enormous point of pride for me that I get to represent my fallen comrades.
Thanks, Will. Today's an important day. It's an important day because we get to stand in front of you and we get to have a conversation. And when we put on the uniform, we serve with honor. I remember being in Afghanistan, and the only thing that I could think about wasn't home. It was about the men and women to my right, to my left, to my front, to my rear, and making sure that on that specific day, I was my best. Because in war, being at 100% doesn't always guarantee a good day. On August 8, 2012, I lost Command Sergeant Griffin, Major Gray, Major Kennedy, and Ray Abbott Fatah. 4 great Americans, 4 individuals that I would give my life to any single day, just to bring them back. But reality is this: I'm an immigrant. I wasn't born in this country. I didn't speak English till I was 12 years old. But this country gave me an opportunity. Gave me an opportunity to earn the right to call myself an American, to serve alongside some of the finest men and women. But also made me realize one thing that is truly important, that it's about the people around you. When you look in their eyes and you're willing to die for them, and they're willing to do the same for you, it's something that I call love. And so serving in the United States Army overseas, just like Will mentioned, taught me so many different lessons. Also taught me about me. Taught me that I needed to be a better person every single day. And after August 8, 2012, it gave me a new purpose in life, and that was to earn it. Earn the right to still be on this earth. Earn the right to be on this stage, to be able to have this conversation with you. Because so many of my friends have made the ultimate sacrifice for me to be here, to have a voice. That's what America is all about. We're about each other. I'd never served in the military looking at someone's color, religious preferences, sexual preferences, whether educational backgrounds. I looked at them as an individual that I was willing to die for, and they were willing to do the same for me. You take all those differences and you put them aside, and then you look at them as human beings, and you do what's right. I learned how to be a better person by serving this nation. But most importantly, I learned about what America is all about when I was in recovery. All the men and women, all those individuals, school teachers, medical personnel, kids, who listened to my story, who gave me so much hope, gave me guidance, and who have embraced me as one of their own. This is what makes us special in this nation, is that we can put our differences aside, and when we need to step up, we step up together, and no one else in the world can do that. So it's an honor to be here today. We're looking forward to your questions. Hopefully we have good answers.
Mr. Upper there in the hall, and he has the questions. Always waiting in the back.
My name is Delby. Thank you for being here today. So, John McCain talked about how courage is not the absence of fear, but the capacity for action in spite of your fears. So what drove you to make the choice you made to risk it for the people you were with?
So, it was simple. I think Will and I can both say the same thing. I'll obviously let him answer that question since we had 2 very different battle scenes, but they'll have been in positions that you've been in before, and you just do your job. Spend a heck of a long time training, before you go and deploy, and when it becomes, reality, you allow fear to guide you. Let's be honest, we're scared, 100%. I've been in positions where I walk into an environment and I look around me and I see big mountains and I look at the path in front of me and I'm thinking, this is not good, right? And you're nervous, but you're a professional too. So instead of allowing fear to take over and dictate the outcome of the situation, instead you empower it, right? You take that fear and then you kick complacency out, and then you bring trust around the people on, and then you go out there and do your job. And once the rounds start flying, right, it's just like, whether it's war, or it's on a football field, or dance recital, whatever it is, when it's live, your adrenaline kicks in, and then you just trust your instincts, you trust your training, you trust the people around you, you trust your coaches, you trust those people that have trained you, and you go do your job. And then after that, you reflect. And that's what combat is all about. You do things that are incredible, just like a firefighter that runs into a fire, right? Or a police officer puts himself in a position, to go save lives. You don't think about the outcomes at that specific moment. The only thing you think about is doing your job, and doing your job to your best of your abilities.
There's really not a whole lot that you can add to that, but one of the things you have to understand about emotions is that if you don't have them, there's something wrong. Fear does guide you. Fear guides you in what you need to do in life because it's the warning indicator of what can happen if something goes wrong. But you do need to figure out how to conquer it. You need to be able to manage that. And a lot of that comes through professionalization. In the military, we train, and we train, and we train to be able to contain our emotions for a professional fighting force. But it extends to anything that we do in life. As we just discussed, this can be anything from the sports field to just how you live your life. But ultimately, emotions guide you. You just have to understand how to maintain them.
Yeah, I'll add one thing, just for context, right? We've all been scared of taking a test. You study, and you're like, good, you're about to go, you sit there, and you're waiting, you're sweating, right? And that piece of paper is put in front of you, and you get your pen, your pencil, whatever it is, or your computer, and then it's just go time. And then you just do it, right? That fear goes away, why? Because it's live. Now you just gotta perform. And so you gotta trust that, you took the time to study, and you gotta trust that you can understand an equation or a question or whatever it is, and you're gonna have the answer. It's just the same thing, it's just a different context.
Hi there, I'm Peter Stanley, I'm a senior. My question for you is, do you have any advice for anyone who's seeking to enlist, do ROTC, or seek an appointment at one of our academies?
Well, you just pretty much ran the gamut of all the things that you can do to enter military service. I think the first thing that you can do is focus on where you are right now. You need to make sure that you are achieving what you need to achieve here in school. If you're a senior, then obviously you're making that decision as to what the next step is. But you have to succeed and excel where you are right now. And that extends to anything that you want to do within the military. If you want to enlist, if you want to get an ROTC commission, or if you want to go to one of the service academies. Each three of those paths are different from one another. But I'll just say that what you need to do is you need to sit down, you need to talk to somebody who's done each of those paths and get their understanding of what they benefited from, so that you know where you want to be. Because each one of those paths takes you to the same location as the U.S. military, but they're very divergent roles and they're very divergent experiences. But each one ultimately benefits this nation and will make you a better person.
Yeah, he's absolutely right. It's just about what you want to do. I wanted to go run track in cross-country University of Maryland. I knew that I wanted to serve. 9/11 happened, and this is 20 years here coming up. 9/11 happened 3 weeks after I entered for my freshman year, and I just knew that I wanted to serve since I was 12 years old, but I also wanted to run track, and I wanted an education. So I figured, heck, let me go do all these things, and then I'll enlist. But I wanted to become an officer, and like Will talked about, I talked to a heck of a lot of people. And sometimes I think about, man, it would have been interesting to go in as enlisted. But, you pick a path and you go with it.
I'm going to add one more thing. Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, it follows you.
Can't run for office.
Hello, my name is Nick Savage. I just wanted to know why did you enlist, and can you explain to our students what the word duty means to you?
I enlisted because when I came into this country, within a couple months, my uncle was killed by a terrorist organization in a place called Algeria. It's another country in North Africa, and that changed my entire life. It was the first time as a 12-year-old that I realized that there was such type of evil in the world, and I wanted to be a part of the solution. You fast forward a few years later, here I am, 18 years old. I'd just been naturalized 7 months prior as a U.S. citizen, and then the same type of individuals attacked my new adopted country. And so at that point, it was a no-brainer decision for me to go join the military. It was just my path that was cemented on me. What was the second word? What was the second word? What duty means to me. Duty means that you go out there and you do what you're supposed to do. You have the moral compass to go out there and solve the problem in front of you by doing the right things, trusting the people next to you, and have integrity doing it. It's just the requirement of being a good person. I love that people overthink duty. Duty is follow the rules and be a good person, right? I almost cursed.
I took a more circuitous route to the military. It was not an automatic decision for me. I thought when I was in college that I was going to be in the State Department and I'd be stamping passports in some embassy in some dusty part of the world. And I looked back on some experiences that I had, and I remembered that the U.S. military had been in the Balkans, where I thought that I'd eventually end up, and we'd done a lot of good there. And the events of September 11th changed my mind as to what I wanted to do. That, for my generation, was a seminal event that changed a lot of lives, and my life changed because I decided that I needed to do something impactful, I needed to do something immediate, and something that wasn't necessarily comfortable. And I was given an opportunity to become an officer in the United States Army, and they basically said, you could either be stamping passports or blowing stuff up overseas, which one do you want to do? And I chose blowing stuff up overseas. 20 years later, it was not the wrong decision.
Now, when he says that, he did. This gentleman here, let's be honest. We spent more time working with the local populace in Afghanistan than we did fighting. And by that I mean, you have all Hollywood, you have social media, and you have all these, predisposition notions of what we do in combat. But I spent more time going from village to village and doing key engagement meetings with local Afghans and making friends, to be honest with you, and understanding their culture than I did fighting the enemy. Now, I fought a lot. But the majority of my time was being around that country and the parts of that country and understanding how we can help improve their lives. And so you have a mix, right? It's super interesting. I never thought I'd ever go to combat as an infantryman and be providing local Afghan companies with contracts to rebuild a fence or a door on our base, right? I was literally drawing up contracts and then having groups bid on them. It was fascinating, as a young lieutenant to do these things. And so I wasn't expecting that, but it's so funny because that's life, isn't it? Right? You have this understanding, a clear vision of what you want to do, or what you think something's going to be like, and then you walk through that door and it's just a little bit different. And most of the time you're going to be surprised, but it's going to be a good surprise. And so that was something that I took back from the military that I truly enjoyed, is I had this idea. I went in with a lot of hate. I promise you, I wanted to go out there and eradicate all these individuals that brought so much evil and pain in my life and to my friends and my country. And I left with a complete understanding of what love is. It wasn't about the enemy. It was about what we were willing to do for each other. And that's something that I will take for the rest of my life. And these are the memories that I will have going forward. Not the memories of war, but the memories of brotherhood and sisterhood. And that's, to me, is the most special gift that anyone could have ever bestowed to me.
So, just a final question, because you both are retired now from the, oh no, excuse me, you are not retired. You'll never retire, no, excuse me. So can you talk a little bit about what life is like for you now that you have retired, and how you continue to serve, and what service looks like in your life now? And can you share a little bit about your career since this particular incident for which you were awarded the Medal of Honor?
You want to? Yeah.
So I guess this goes back to the second part of your question, which we didn't answer. Duty. I thought I was going to run late for class or helicopters, I'm not sure which. Duty is also about responsibility, and I felt that I had a responsibility to continue a career based upon a lot of things. One was, it was a continuation of something that people who had fallen on battlefields that I was on didn't get to do, which was finish their career. So I took it as an honor and privilege to continue mine in recognition of them. Combat and warfare were a significant part of my experience in the military, but I had a second component of my military where I'm effectively in the diplomatic corps of the United States military. So I've been spending a lot of time overseas in South America. And it's one of the things that people don't understand about what our military does. It's a diverse, multifaceted organization that has more penetration across the world than anyone really recognizes. We do things in places that help, we do things in places that assist, and we make partnerships across the world, and that's what I've been doing ever since.
So I wasn't able to complete my career. I was injured, lost half my calf and fused my foot, deaf and left ear, which is a really great excuse with my wife sometimes. And I had to make a transition, and so that was a very difficult period for me because I was full set, like plan A, B, C, all the way to Z were military. And so when they tell you that you no longer can follow that path, it was really a really difficult transition. But so is life. And so, if you have an obstacle in front of you, you need to overcome. If you get knocked down on the ground, you get back up. You learn from it. Don't make the same mistakes. And in this case, what I realized was I had an unbelievable community around me of individuals who had put on the uniform and then had successfully transitioned, and some who had not successfully transitioned but had a story to tell. And so I needed to listen. And so the first thing I did is I found a mentor. I found a mentor that was an individual that had gone through what I had gone through and had successfully transitioned. And then I just listened. And then I found another mentor, an individual that had nothing to do with my background, absolutely nothing, pacifist. I was looking for the most extreme, opposite person to me. And I wanted an individual that was a pacifist, maybe a little bit way more educated than I was. And I wanted to hear their thoughts and get their perspectives. And what I got from both groups was go back to school. Literally, that was the first thing I heard. So I went and got my master's degree. And then I started networking around. And finally, I wanted to challenge myself. Just like I did when I went into the military. I didn't have any military background. I joined at 18 months of training, and then I was in Afghanistan. In this case, I challenged myself in a way that I was like, where can I get really, really uncomfortable? Where every single day I wake up, it's a challenge. And I need to use the people around me to be better. And I need to be able to consistently learn. So I went to aerospace, went to Boeing. I was a criminal justice major, okay? I had a master's in business, I had a bit of MBA in essence. And so I had nothing. Aerospace, aeronautical degrees were not my thing, but I went in there and I challenged myself and I loved it. And then later on, after Boeing, I figured, what's the next challenge? Now I'm at Microsoft. That's why I'm dressed like this, he's dressed like this, right? I'm a Microsoft, and I was like, I know nothing about tech, let's go do it. And now I work, not only do I work at Microsoft, but I work for the cloud in engineering, right? And I lead a team of data scientists, engineers, some of the most brilliant people you ever meet. I don't know what they talk about half the time. I'm sure they're making fun of me, but in the end, we're winning together. But the point of my life is I'm always seeking a challenge. I don't like to be bored. I don't like to be comfortable because when I get bored and comfortable, I become complacent. And so that's why I was pretty successful in the military, because you can't allow complacency to kick in because people die. And so now, today, it's like the French newspaper said, I'm a kid from the ghetto of Paris, who had the opportunity to come here and give me so many chances to succeed in this country. And every day, I don't take that for granted. I go out there and challenge myself to be better. So for all you kids right here who think I can't accomplish this thing, and I was like that soap opera, the story, whatever, it's a true story. Look, it's all in front of you. If you don't reach for it, you'll never get it. That is the one guarantee in life. If you don't try, you'll fail. Because you already failed. I came from no money, nothing, didn't speak the language, came into this country, served my nation, and then I've had so many different opportunities and doors open. Just walk through them. Trust yourself. Give it a shot. If you fail, guess what? Best news about failing is you learned a lesson.
Thank you both so much for sharing out words of wisdom and a little bit about your background. It's wonderful to hear. We'd like to invite the state senator and state representatives to come up at this time. We have some citations to present.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Representative Josh Cutler. I'm joined by Representative Kathy Lenatra and Senator Patrick O'Connor. I'll give them a chance to say hello in a moment. We were here to offer some thanks and appreciation. I read the bios of these two gentlemen last night, and it was inspirational to read. I encourage you to go on the Medal of Honor website and do that. It was really inspirational. But I have to say, hearing them speak today is truly inspirational. And you are heroes, and we're very, very grateful that you came to our town and that you served our great country. So thank you very much. So we bring the tidings from the men and women of the Massachusetts State Legislature. We have, I know you have many accolades and honors. We're going to add one more to your pile. We have a citation here from the Massachusetts House of Representatives and also the Massachusetts State Senate. And so I'm going to introduce my colleague, Representative Lenatra. You have your glasses with you? Okay. Okay, there we go. Hold on. Teamwork here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kathy Lenatra. I'm a state representative for the 12th Plymouth District, and I would like to present you with a citation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to U.S. Army Captain Florin Groberg in recognition of your heroism in the face of extreme adversity while defending the United States, earning you the distinction of the Congressional Medal of Honor. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all your endeavors. It's given this 8th day of September, 2001. It's signed by our Speaker of the House, Ronald Mariano, State Representative Josh Cutler, and myself, Kathy Lenatra. And we have another one. So this is again another citation from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, the House of Representatives. Be it hereby known to all that the Massachusetts House of Representatives offers its sincerest congratulations to the U.S. Army Captain William Swenson in recognition of your heroism in the face of extreme adversity while defending the United States, earning you the distinction of the Congressional Medal of Honor. The entire membership extends its very best wishes and expresses the hope for future good fortune and continued success in all your endeavors. And again, given this 8th day of September 2001, signed by the Speaker of the House of Massachusetts, Ronald Mariano, State Representative Josh Cutler, and myself, Kathleen Lenatra. And it's my honor to represent State Senator Patrick O'Connor.
Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to really echo the same sentiments that Representative Cutler, Representative Lenatra have said today. You know, when we first started this, it was mentioned that there are 68 living Congressional Medal of Honor recipients, and we're incredibly lucky to have two of them with us today that shared their story of heroism, of bravery, and provided some real, in my opinion, if I was a senior at Duxbury High School right now, provided some real life advice that I would highly recommend that you heed and that you and hopefully relate to. I just wanted to really thank you both for coming here to the South Shore, for coming here to Duxbury, for everyone that organized this today. This was really a really special event. will definitely stick with me for quite some time. And on behalf of the Massachusetts State Senate, to both of you, we also had read into the record, so you're forever part of the Journal of the House of Representatives and the Journal of the State Senate for your heroism. And this is in recognition of your heroism in the face of extreme adversity while defending the United States of America and earning the prestigious Congressional Medal of Honor. And it was offered today, the 8th of September, by myself, State Senator Patrick O'Connor, and signed by the Senate President Karen Skoka. Thank you both for coming here today, and thank you for all you've done for our country.
We also have a couple of gifts on behalf of Duxbury Public Schools. Probably not the smartest thing to give you. There's glass in here before you get back on the Black Hawk helicopter, but thank you very much. So we just want to thank you once again, Lieutenant Colonel Swenson and Captain Groberg, for sharing your inspirational words of wisdom and for visiting our school today. We're always going to remember this morning that you arrived via Black Hawk helicopter and spent some time with us in the Performing Arts Center. So we're so grateful to have been part of the 2021 Medal of Honor Convention that's being held this week in Boston. Our distinguished guests are now going to fly on their helicopter back to Boston to continue to celebrate this week at the convention. And so this concludes our program, and we thank you all for being here today. And I know the students will always remember this morning and being able to meet these wonderful, wonderful heroes from that defended America for all of us. So thank you so much.
And then end it.